Good evening and welcome to another edition of Tales from the Coast. Yeah, on a bit of a journey, and backed by popular demand, I've had so many messages about my tales from the barn that I've decided to do one from the coast. So anyway, this tale, it goes back. This is an old tale, so it's not all of my stories I do are originals of my own and are true. And this one is very interesting. Now this tale is named The Parson and the Clerk. Going back some 200 and more years ago. And it was at a time when the Bishop of Exeter was in ill health, and he used to come down to Dawlish to get his health back, to get a little bit better and to try and get his strength up. Anyway, the parson at the time in the Dawlish area thought, this seems like a good time for me to see if I can better myself and move up the ladder. So let's see what we can do to knock the bishop off of his seat and I can gain control of the area. Anyway, it worked out that the bishop was getting worse. So what happened with the parson and the clerk? The parson used to use the clerk as his guide, and they used to set off on trips from Dawlish to Exeter every week. And it so happens that this one particular day, they'd been doing it for a few weeks, and they weren't really, they didn't care much for the health of the bishop. They just wanted his position. And the parson was promising the clerk better prospects if he was to get the position. So anyway, this one particular Sunday, the fog was coming down, drizzly evening, and they met up at a local hostelry in the area and set off on their ways over towards Exeter across the moors. So they set off, but before they went, the clerk thought, this is a good time. I've actually I've scored some 80 grains of opium. So he decided that they'd take this opium, more than their usual score, and before they set off on their ways. Anyway, as they were going across the moors, anybody knows the area, if you follow the railway line, basically from Dawlish towards Exeter, you'll go up over the hill, and lovely area up there, and you'll see that when the mist comes down, it comes down pretty bad. So they set off on their trip after taking their opium, and anyway, they get lost across the moors. Now, the bishop, sorry, not the bishop, no, the parson says they get so far, and there's a fork in the road, and they get lost. They take the wrong fork, and it leads them down a dark path. Now, the parson, being the type of man he is, excuse me, there's the train, and the bishop is still in ill health. He's in Exeter, so the parson gets all confused and really lets rip at the clerk, and he said, "I'd rather be with the devil than you, God forsaken, coming across the moors with me like this, getting me lost." And with that, they heard a thunder and a hooves coming behind them. Whoa, this big mare goes up on her back hind legs and says, "Follow me, I'll be your escort." So the parson and the clerk. Are you keeping up? The parson and the clerk says, brilliant. So off they go following this mare, this horseman. And they come across this big mansion all lit up in the distance. And the parson says, do you know where we are, sir? And the guy on horseback says, yes, just follow me. I'll give you some hospitality on the way. They're friends of mine. And they stop off at this mansion. A bit of a weird setting. The fog's low down. Really bad night. And they go in and they start partying some more. And the opium is getting more and more. It's flowing really well. So suddenly there was a knock at the door, a big banging, and in come these locals, and they break the news that the bishop has actually died in Exeter. And with that, the parson gets up. I must get all my cape on and dress ready to go, and also gets his clerk sorted out, ready to go. And by this time, he's a bit worse for wear with his opium. And off they go with the horsemen. So they get so far. Anyway, the horses just stop in their tracks, and they don't want to go. So the parson takes his crop out, gets his whip out, and he starts smacking the horses, kicking them with his spurs. God-forsaken horses, I'd rather be with the devil than these. And with that, the horses went up, and they made a gallop for the cliffs. A thundering gallop, the pair of them. And off they went over the cliffs. Now the next morning, nobody had heard from the parson or his clerk. But they did find the horse carcasses. They found them washed up on the beach. And to this day, if you take the train journey from Teignmouth down to Dawlish, you will pass the parson and the clerk set in stone where they lay. You will pass through the arch. So, mark my words, don't go from Teignmouth to Dawlish on a dark, foggy evening. Thanks for joining Tales from the Coast. I'll bring you back some more soon. See you soon. Bye for now.